Okay, for 6f, notice just like in 6e, these two terms are switched. Remember, when we factor, we're used to the form where there's a degree 2 variable and then a degree 1 variable and then no variable. So when we put that into that form, we have 6n squared plus 26n minus 20. Now we can factor. This is the form that we factor in. But before we do that, what do you notice? 2 goes into each term. When we factor out a 2, we're left with 2 goes into 6 3 times, so 3n squared. 2 goes into 26 13 times, that's 13n. And 2 goes into minus 20 minus 10 times. Now all we need to do is factor this part, which is much more easier to factor than this because we're working with smaller numbers. So we need two numbers whose sum is 13, and obviously whose product is equal to 3 times minus 10, which is minus 30. Okay, so this should be getting a lot easier to figure out the two numbers. Well, we know that 10 times 3 equals to 30. But then we want a sum of 13, so that's not quite right. What else is there? We know that we can do, well, we have 1 and 30, 2 and 15. Can we do 2 and 15? 15 times 2 equals to 30, and we need minus 30, so we need to give one of these numbers a negative. And if we put a negative on the 2, what do we get? 15 minus 2 equals to 13. The sum is correct, and the product is correct as well. So the two numbers are therefore 15 and minus 2. So when we break up the middle term, we get 3n squared plus 15n minus 2n minus 10. In the first two terms, we can factor out of 3n. We're left with an n from there, and 3 goes into 15 5 times, and we factor out an n from an n, so we're just left with 5. Here we can just factor out a minus 2, and we're left with n plus 5. N plus 5, n plus 5, which tells us that we did this right, because the whole point of decomposition is to get to this part right here. Now we can factor out an n plus 5. Then we're finally left with 3n minus 2.